Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Tank Racing, written by FarmWitch4275. The perfect sport for humans, they called it. Holy gods, how right they were. I sat in my spectator seat, very much the only non-human in the stands of this strange arena. Humans told me this was an obscure but beloved once every 5 years event, where they would gather to watch, and gather they did. I had no idea this many humans even existed. Thousands, tens of thousands gathered in this arena, shaped like a figure 8 with an oval building surrounding it. The crowd was in a soft rumble as the general human things carried on, talking to relatives, explaining events to children, and trying to sell foodstuffs and drinks. A bell suddenly sounded, and a sign appeared in the courtside hollow displays. Waterloop wait 432. I was confused by this, very confused. Then a song started playing. It sounded very dated, even by human standards. But as the song began to play, the crowd grew to a dull roar. Then, for the first time, I saw it. The vehicles for this race entered the arena and slowly trundled over to their starting spots in various positions along the track. 14 of them. I looked at my holodeck device, looking for answers as to what this beast was. They were each of similar design, with only minor differences between them, mostly being of paint schemes or decals. The holodeck came back with an answer. They were called tanks, and humans used them as war machines. Specifically, at least according to the archive, were specialized tanks custom-made by their drivers based on the hull design of an old World War II tank machine called a Sherman. The hull design was standardized, the tracks specifically constructed with high-grade metals to handle exponential forces. The armor made of stupidly expensive nanocarbon polymer, and the cannon on top, all of the same 75mm caliber. The sign above the arena beeped again, Substance by Bazooka Groove 413. And the crowd's roar became ever more aggressive. The crews of the people surrounding the vehicles on the ground hastily scrambled into the garage of the building they came from. Then I heard it. The sound that filled me with a mixture of sheer terror and awe as the engine started. First one, then 2, then 5, and within seconds, the arena was deafened by the thundering roar of hypercharged engines coming from these beasts. The sign changed again, Bay Tremor, Tremors, 530, and the crowd cheered in anticipation. A pit crew member yelled out as he hit the switch on the fence line, "Shields up!" The crowd followed his vocalization with a "Hell yeah!" Then everyone's attention drew to the checkered line on the ground. The engines roared as the finish line let out 5 short alarms, each time lighting a red light. Then a long horn sounded, the light turning green, and the roar of both the crowd and the engines shattered my sensitive ears as these multi-ton beasts roared off the starting tracks at a speed far too unreasonable for machines of the size. I watched, wary, noting my exit point as the tank's turrets swung about, tracking their closest rival as they drove around the figure 8 track, their tracks emitting screeching sounds and digging up pieces of tarmac as they drove at speeds exceeding 200 miles an hour. The sign then changed, a new song that immediately started playing, Detour Our Tour 509. Then the first cannon started firing. Instantly, one of the tanks near the lead position was blasted off the tracks, impacting the barrier separating him from the crowd. A flash of light and a shimmer of a shield absorbing the impact billowed out from the sight. The tank that was hit was barely faulted and rode the impact to move a bit faster, expertly maneuvering his tracks to realign his momentum. 3 other tanks were hit, one of them spinning out, but regaining his footing again as he started catching up to the pack. The other 2 received barely glancing blows, one shell bouncing clean off the armor plating and causing a small crater to form in the ground, the other shell vaporizing at the impact on the arena shields. I'd before this never seen a more perfect concept of maneuverability and control, as each tank barely scored any hits as they fought for first place. the cannons spinning wildly around, firing any shot they could. Each time a shot was fired, the shot either bounced or missed completely. How was this even possible? How? The shots didn't miss because of poor aim. They missed because the driver somehow magically knew exactly where that shot was going to hit, and either steered away or fired a shell back, or slammed on the brakes for a split second, causing the miss. Each shell that ricocheted was due to the driver or gunner somehow seeing the shell coming or moving in just the right way. This exchange continued for a good 5 to 6 minutes, before finally, a lucky shot managed to get one of the tanks, an obnoxiously painted green with the number 14 painted on it, to face direct hit during a turn, then tumbled onto the side and lost its grip. 14 is down and out, the announcer yelled out with a mixture of cheers and boos from the assembled crowd. With one competitor out, his tank now slowly smoldering at the side of the racetrack against the arena wall, the other 13 competitors slugged it out as still the race continued. Each time I saw a shell barely miss because of it, my mind raced with the near infinite questions. How the hell did the humans know? By all accounts, they were a little more than ordinary Deathworld millions, not as far stretched by the imagination for normal civilization. But somehow, they knew exactly where to be and how not to be there. I used my holodeck to conduct some minor calculations, missing the moment when competitor number 6 was knocked out, only now noticing his tank with the turret aiming downwards as smoke poured out from its engine on the grass by the inside track. I did, however, catch the very moment a shell ricocheted off a tank and bounced directly at me. It was the most horrifying thing I ever witnessed. The moment of time slowed to a crawl as I saw a tank shell essentially coming straight at me. That moment is permanently scarred into my mind to this very day. Before my brain could even register, the shield found it first, and the shell vaporized in a flash of energy. As it vanished into thin air, I held my hands to my face, getting a few human nearbys to either laugh at me or ask me if I was okay. The race continued unabated, with each shell hitting a target resulting in the crowd screaming in joy. I saw competitor number 7, colored a soft purple, take out 3 other competitors in a masterful turn of events. This one incident is what truly made me fear humans. It started with number 7 quickly passing number 9 on the right side, turning his turret to aim back to use the recoil from the gun as a boost. The tank shot forward just enough that number 7 was able to slam number 9 into a wall, then, with a tiny bit of acceleration, find the perfect spot in number 9's tank to send the shell straight into the engine block. Number 7 then spun around on the track several times as he was too hit by a shell side on by another competitor. Through means I still am unsure, or by simple luck or skill, number 7 managed to hold his momentum and drive in reverse for a full lap, his frontal armor deflecting every shell his competitors fired at him. Number 7 then used the momentum to lock one of his tracks, turning his turret, a sudden loss in speed resulting in number 4 catching up to him, only to receive a shell point blank to the left track assembly, blowing the mechanism off completely. With number 4 out of commission, number 7 turned his attention, still moving at a few 100 miles an hour. Number 7 found his target, number 8 and 2 slugging it out ahead of him. Number 7 apparently saw a perfect moment, tracking number 2. He fired a shell, and either by luck or intent, number 2 had just enough force hit him that he lost control and the momentum carried him slamming into the wall at high speed. Number 7 then drove up, fired another shell straight into number 2's engine block as he zoomed by. This entire event took place in less than 2 minutes. Number 7 was then hit and taken out by number 12, and by this point, the only 2 tanks left were number 12 and number 3. These 2 tanks dodged, weaved, and bobbed at ludicrously high speeds for multi-ton armored vehicles, and the shelling became less aggressive, more calculated. Ultimately, however, it was victory for number 3, as at just the right moment, either by luck or skill, I'm still not sure, he fired a shot at just the right moment to catch number 12 out, resulting in his cannon being blown clear off the turret. A deafening loud alarm rang out, signaling the race's end, and the crowd all stood up in unison in a deafening cheer. I spent the next 6 months looking at other human sporting events, carefully comparing all the data I could. The maneuvering techniques, the staggering lucky shots, the sheer amount of will at tanking the G-forces involved. The seeming intuition of every single human involved to know exactly when to go where, and where to go when, at exactly the right time, in exactly the right place, with so few mistakes. If this was what they did for fun, I found myself dreading the possibilities of what they did for an actual war. End of story. I would just quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Dragon Soup, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Red Panda 121, Leslie 517, Bushmaster 177, Caspar Arnold, Cam Maxwell, Sans the Skeleton, Lightjock, Dragzoon WRE, and Lord Azrakal. Thank you very much.